clerk please call the roll?
Freeholder Amoroso.
Here.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Freeholder Ortiz.
Here.
Freeholder Sullivan.
Here.
Freeholder Tonelli.
Here.
Freeholder Voss.
Here.
Chairwoman Zur.
Here. Evidence of a quorum is present. Will everyone please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you'll all just please remain standing for a moment as we give a moment of silence to mourn the loss of the 8 lives and the 11 who were injured in the tragic acts of terror last night in New York City, specifically New Milford resident Darren Drake. To say our deepest sympathies go out to the victims and their families and their friends seems almost trite as we all grieve their loss. As we try to wrap our minds around the fear and chaos of last night, we stand more resolute as a community and a country to come together to show the true character of our nation. Thank you. Will the clerk please read the minutes to be accepted?
October 10th, work session, Freeholder Gans, Freeholder Sullivan absent. October 18th, work session, all present.
May I have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The minutes have been unanimously approved. Now
Madam
may,
Chairwoman, that's in accordance with the rules that say that if I was not present, I did not vote, but abstained.
thank you, Freeholder Gans, that is correct. Can I now have a motion to open the meeting to the general public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? It is now unanimously approved. We're now going to have a hearing of the general public with a 3-minute time limit in effect in accordance with the Bergen County Freeholders bylaws. The board attorney is going to keep the time, and when the time of the speaker expires, he's going to indicate that the time has expired. Please fill out one of these slips with your name, address, and general topic upon which you wish to speak. Sal Moretti?
Salvatore Moretti, Alpine Drive, Paramus. I did some research today in regard to some analyses of the law. There are 45,000 pre-foreclosure listings in New Jersey and 10,555 foreclosure listings. Hackensack has 247 homes in foreclosure. Flipping properties for short-term gains is something which is advertised as far as the newspapers are concerned, and many of the purchasers are corporations or law offices. The issue that I was doing some research on was with respect to matters of litigation and the multiplication of lawsuits by non-interested or intermeddling parties. And I note that there is a certain lack of concern in the academic institutions with respect to laws against barratry and champerty. I noticed that in law school, in different contexts, certainly with regard to bank failures during the Depression and the creation of the Federal Reserve. I would note that Richard Whitney, chairman of the New York Stock Exchange, was imprisoned for short selling. And it seems to me rather circuitous logic that would imprison him if in fact he was a creature of a rather extensive system which in fact had gone on from 1900 and resulted in 2 world wars and several depressions. We have a 3-minute time limit, is it?
Yes.
I have 2:48, so I would wrap up. Thank you very much. I
Thank you, Mr.
suggest you're
Moretti.
giving some attention to that.
Thank you,
Bye.
Mr. Moretti. Ryan Roy?
RyanRoy. Ryan Roy, 167 North West Wing Avenue, Southwark Township, New Jersey, 167 North West Wing Avenue, Leswing, one word. Southwark Township, New Jersey, 07663. I just want to really, speak to the public, about myself, as the autism advocate for the people with disabilities, especially within the autism spectrum disorder in Bergen County and beyond the Garden State. And I'm actually, filling in as the acting facilitator for Bergen County's People First. That's through the New Jersey Council on Developmental Disabilities. And I know that this is really much of an honor and homage to Michael Augustowitz, who actually was born and raised in Essex County, and he actually worked as a chef at Ramapo College, and then he was a long-term care at Newbridge Medical Center, and then before Hyde Independence of Progress helped him move to Dumont, New Jersey. Hyde Independence and Progress, HIP in Hackensack. I really want to make a difference to let you know that, I actually have been in the road lately, to a lot of towns in Hackensack, Emerson, Englewood Cliffs, and Menaki to talk about creating an Access for All committee, and especially, stigma-free, and which I really use, the email through HIP. And I really reach out to the mayor and councilmen and letting them know how it is very important to really have their stigma-free zones in their towns. And I actually, made it possible, to make a difference. And I know that when I was at the last Access for All committee meeting in Mawa, I know some of my members at People First weren't pleased because the one in Mawa wasn't very much acceptable. And, and I know that Jim DeBerry is doing the best he can with his ability to really make things accessible for people to get into places. So, I really want to have Mr. DeBerry know that for my, ways and, having accessibility for my members and, to really make sure that they attend meetings and, they're not, and then to make sure they're not disappointed. So I really want to make a difference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for all that you're doing.
I'll give you my contact cards, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Paul Nichols?
Good evening, Paul Nichols. First of all, thank you, Ryan. He's a really good advocate. I miss Mike, too. I've known him since I was a kid. Congratulations, Julian. I didn't get to congratulate you for your award. I missed the NAACP meeting gala this year. I am a member, by the way. You're very welcome. Okay, I'm going to be brief. I'm really tired. It's been a long day. If you guys could explain, so we all know, whatever you can, like a scenario on that code blue, and how it's going to work. Because remember, there are a lot of homeless that don't have phones or communications. And I know you'd mentioned about press releases and stuff like that, but if you could just briefly go through it, that's all I'm going to say. Thank you.
Thank you,
Do you
Paul.
want me to stand here? Or you want?
Wherever you want to stand, you're welcome to
I
stand.
can sit down if you want.
Cold Blue, for those of you who don't know, is we have a standing order in the county that when temperatures drop to a certain level, it's actually a standing order throughout the state, but we have it in the county so that when temperatures drop to a certain level, any homeless person will be sheltered. And so if it's 25 degrees or less without precipitation, or 30 degrees or less with precipitation, or there's a 0 degree wind chill factor, they are required to shelter. Any community is required to shelter those individuals, and they will be sheltered either in the Hackensack facility or if there's an overflow at the Midland Park Senior Center, which can also accommodate up to 50 people. So that's part of our standing orders for all the law enforcement within Bergen County, and so there's no special, emergency that needs to be declared. Whenever the temperatures hit those temperatures, the standing order goes into effect.
But they'll do a notification somehow to however they do it, right? I mean, just basically what I'm saying is like, how are people gonna get to the shelters? But from what I remember, please correct me if I'm wrong, I remember something about, I think in the Bill S-1088 amendment, they said something about, I mean, most towns already, like, I know Hackensack, we already know where the homeless people hang out and stuff like that. So other towns, I'm assuming, is that how it
They
goes?
do as
And
well.
the cops or whoever goes out and, I mean, I'll tell Candida and all the outreach people, right, but something will go out when it does, in case people aren't sure whether it's in order. I'm sorry.
And it typically goes out through all the news outlets as well. So you'd see on the major television networks, banners that go across the bottom of the
Oh,
screen.
so we'll get press releases and stuff.
Yeah, it's using all of those outlets as
And I
well.
misspoke, it's 32 degrees with
Yeah.
precipitation, sorry.
Okay, all right, and that's whenever, well, I mean, I say year-round, but I mean, anywhere, whenever it does. So, okay, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you for your advocacy as well. Chuck Powers?
Powers, Bergen Grassroots. I've said several times in the past that I hope that you folks are really keeping track of how many millions of dollars, really, that you folks are getting in pass-through grants that are likely to be quite seriously threatened given what's happening with the federal budget. Because I think you're going to be facing some extremely complicated choices going forward in the next year's budget, and tracking those so you know them. I mean, there's mental health dollars, mental health law dollars. There's children's coordinating dollars in this week's. Last week was a whole lot of additional work, particularly on the health side. And it's going to be important to figure out how the people who are being protected and expect those things to come from the county through the feds, what are you going to do when in fact those dollars aren't coming forward? I also want to link what we've been saying for a long time. We are very happy that you are now live casting these meetings at night. It's really important also that you get them to the afternoon sessions. I think that you know that, and as soon as you can do that. Let me just give you an example. Whether under a Republican or Democratic lead, you folks, when you do approve, as you did 5 separate resolutions a day, a contract for litigation or work with a particular firm, you actually go through the process of actually limiting what that is. And I've watched you and your predecessors, when in fact that is exceeded, the issue comes back and gets particular attention. So whatever it is you're doing behind the scenes in figuring out what's going on with those cases, also you are setting a limit that's really important. And that's not happening in many municipalities. Within the last month, I watched a really quite expensive case be approved in a municipality, which seems extremely open-ended, and the council actually has absolutely no idea what it's actually going to cost. Those municipalities and their leadership need to watch you as you, in fact, establish those kinds of better fiscal controls of that kind of expense. I also want to point out that on Facebook, all of you can quickly go to Bergen Grassroots and see the entire forum that two of your members and 2 Republican candidates participated in last Tuesday evening. It was a very interesting evening. And if you want to figure out a specific candidate or a specific question you want to take a look at the Bergen Grassroots website, and then that'll guide you to where on the Facebook video, which of course was actually live cast as well, you can find the answer to the question or the candidate you want to take a look at. Thanks very much for your help, and Bergen Grassroots will always be here trying to watch what's going on and rooting for a fantastic county. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Powers. Monique Singleton?
First name is Monique, Monique. My last name is Singleton, Singleton. Hi, my name is Monique Danielle Singleton. I'm the author of a book called Forgotten Pieces. It's a life skills guide for teens and young adults. I'm the CEO of Meetng Production. Just to give you a brief background about myself, I'm a licensed cosmetologist for over 25 years. The Meetng brand consists of a cable TV show that I had called The Style Sports and Entertainment, an online radio show called The Meetng Show. Also, we launched a makeup, a cosmetic, and a hair extension line in 2015, and presently 2017, we launched Meetng Production, which I became the author of, again, Forgotten Pieces, a life skills guide for teens and young adults. The reason I felt it important to do this book is because my daughter is 20, and before that she got out of high school, all the teens would congregate at our house. And they had a lot of questions for me about, Mommy Mo, what will we do when we get out of high school? Our parents want us to do this, but we want to do that. Everyone's not set out for college. There are other things that kids can do. They can go to military, they can do trades, and they can go to college. I went to college and I went to trade school. But what I try to explain to them is you have to be all that you can be. And in this book, I explain to them about time management. I explain to them about communication skills, finding the power of I am, finding your divine purpose, how to open up bank accounts, and all these things that we assume that our children know that they do not know. And I thought my daughter knew most of this stuff, and I consider myself to be a pretty good mom. But work and scheduling and life just gets in the way. So this book became very important. What I also did from this book is I broke it down into workshops. I have a seminar that we can do for 2.5 hours or a seven-week program. The 7-week program breaks the books down a little bit further. We cater to high schools, colleges, at-risk youth, domestic violence, any type of programs. Everyone needs life skills. A lot of people think that just because we have titles, I'm an author, I'm a CEO, you guys are freeholders, that's what our main purpose in life is. I teach them if you find your divine purpose, you can be whoever you want to be no matter what. The world is at your feet when you can be whoever you want to be. If you know what to do, we can bridge the gap between our teachers, our students, our communities. So that's what this book is based on. What I'm here for is to let you guys know that I'm going to start going to all of the Board of Educations and everywhere to see if we can get this book implicated into the school system or at least some workshops or programs. Because I think it's needed. If people know what to do, when to do it, how to do it, an end plan, and even an exit strategy, they can move on in life better and we can better our communities. James has some cards. If you know anyone, because I'm going to start going to all the Board of Education, so I figure if I come and introduce myself to you now, when you see the book, Forgotten Pieces by author Meetng, at least you can put a name with a face, and hopefully I'll see you guys again in one of the public schools. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Meetng. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else from the general public who wishes to speak? If not, can I have a motion to close the meeting to the general public? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? The meeting is now closed to the general public. Will the clerk please read the resolutions on the consent agenda?
Resolutions 99217 through 93117.
May I have a motion to accept the resolutions on the consent agenda as read by the clerk?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Can I have a roll call, please?
Freeholder Amoroso.
Yes.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Freeholder Ortiz.
Yes.
Freeholder Sullivan.
Yes.
Freeholder Tinelli. Yes. Freeholder Voss. Yes. Chairwoman Zer.
Yes.
7 ayes.
Are there any resolutions of non-consent pulled, postponed, or tabled? Or if so, can the clerk please read?
There are none.
Wasn't there one resolution of non-consent?
Freeholder Sullivan withdrew his non-consent, and he advised legal counsel. So we made this a consent agenda.
Wonderful. Do I have any motions in regard to freeholder committee reports?
I'd like to make a motion to suspend reports this evening.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
So, passes 6-1 with motions to suspend the committee reports is passed. There being nothing further to come before this meeting, before I adjourn, I just want to thank tonight's camera operator, Danielle Abril, who is a junior at Bergen County Technical Schools and the Applied Technology High School at Bergen Community College. She is providing our video services tonight, and we just want to thank you for being part of our meeting tonight and providing coverage to the general public. That being said,
Chairwoman, I just would like to add for the record that I would wish everyone luck in the upcoming election in November, next week.
thank you.
We wish everyone luck.
Everyone.
We do.
You don't need luck, Freeholder.
Yes. Sure, I want to thank also all the security officers who were here tonight for always having our back, but especially having our back this evening. And also thank all of the wonderful volunteers and all of our staff who really went above and beyond at Zubu this year. It was an amazing weekend. My kids had a blast, but so did so many other children within Bergen County. Yes.
In your moment of silence earlier, we thanked we paid respects to the families. I just want to thank the first responders that responded so quickly that really even could have been a worse catastrophe yesterday if it wasn't for the quick response of our first responders. So I just want to thank them for their service.
Thank you very much, Freeholder Tonelli. All right, now, seeing no other business before this board, can I have a motion to adjourn? So moved. Second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Meeting stands adjourned.